there's a difference between healing and coping. And what are we doing to numb the pain? Because the many, many, many ways that we do to avoid dealing with our actual mental health issues and dealing with the trauma is, like I said, alcohol and drugs and prescription medication, sex, hookup culture, and those unhealthy relationship cycles. So many people in our community can get caught up in toxic relationships where we are physically and mentally, emotionally abused. And not all of them have to happen at the same time, but it can lead to that as well. Now, it can also lead to overeating, undereating, and body image struggles, right? We all probably know someone in our community that really struggles with their body image, if it's not us, right? Because when you look at the numbers, well over 50% of people in the queer community struggle with their body image.
Welcome to the Queer Quest podcast, your beacon of light and sprinkle of glitter in the queer community. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for queer individuals. And together, we're embarking on a journey of transformation. Each week, we bring you a new training topic or connecting with visionary queer leaders in healing and coaching. Diving deep into conversations that inspire growth, celebrate diversity, and empower you to live authentically. So wherever you are, settle in and let's get ready to unlock the vibrant potential within. This is where your quest begins.
Hello, all you fabulous souls, and welcome to another episode of the Queer Quest podcast. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, the CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for people in the queer community. So this week on the podcast, I want to talk about healing within the queer community and specifically how we can break the cycle of avoidance and numbing as coping mechanisms so that we can actually truly learn the process of healing. So really where I want to start with this episode this week is around the illusion of healing after coming out. Now, I know that many people think that once you come out, that you fully accept yourself, that life is amazing, that you no longer have any worries, that none of the traumas that you dealt with in your life up to that point, they've all become healed and you're a whole new version of yourself. And the truth is that coming out is actually the first step. It's not the finish line. And what do I mean by that? Because once you start the journey of accepting yourself, that is you stepping into your power, your authenticity, and moving towards a life that is lived by you and for you and not for everyone else and for society's standards. Now, just because, again, you've come out, that doesn't mean that all of the stuff that's happened in your life, all the pressure from society, from your family, from friends, from colleagues, from the world around you, just automatically goes away. Coming out is also not just a one-time, experience. It happens multiple times throughout our life. We continue to have to go through the process because as we go through life, we meet new people, we go through new experiences, we might move to new places, go to new careers, new jobs, etc. And we put ourselves in new environments. And each time we go into that environment, we assess how much of myself can I show? How much of who I am can I step into in this moment? And because of that, that leads to continual areas of growth and needing for, areas of healing. Of course, everyone's going to have a little bit of a different experience, in their life because we are all different humans and we all are, all had different experiences. Of course, there are a lot of similar experiences that we will go through, relating to, say, the internalized emotions, internalized thoughts, internalized experiences, even internalized homophobia or queerphobia. Once you get to the place of coming out and really stepping into your power, your authenticity as who you are as a queer person, you still have to work through the stuff that's in your past. You still need to figure out how you can move forward in the world and navigate it now that you've really started to accept yourself. And what do you need to do to actually start to really work on the healing? Because you may have, like I said, come to terms with it. You now have a whole new world that you have to come to terms with as well. And let's just say you've had issues with your family just because you come out now, those issues could still be there. You might have issues within relationships, friendships, those things will still be there. And so, you will carry the weight of that trauma until you physically learn how to heal from it, because the trauma is stored in our body. It is an emotional reaction that we're going to have. And for us to be able to really, truly heal, we need to get over the myth that accepting our queerness automatically heals those past wounds. Because the reality is, many queer people still struggle with self-worth, with anxiety, depression, and unprocessed trauma along with long after, coming out. And so something that we all need to be aware of is that, again, coming out is the first step towards healing, because you're saying, I'm no longer going to be shackled up. I'm no longer going to be hidden. I'm no longer going to live my life in the shadow. But again, when you come out of the shadow, so do all of the actual deep, dark things that have been, struggling with you. And you might get into a process where you decide to numb your pain or avoid your pain. And, you might be avoiding your pain by keeping busy, by being a perfectionist. You might numb yourself with alcohol, with drugs, with prescription medication, with sex, with porn, with food, with, social media use. And so when it comes down to it, we as a community do have a overarching experience of internalizing pain, because we learned for almost all of our life that we had to internalize our feelings and emotions. We didn't feel safe enough to go and express ourselves fully, because maybe when we did start to express ourselves, people pushed us down, people bullied us, people attacked us, people did what they do.
Are you ready to embark on a journey of transformation that's uniquely yours? Welcome to QueerQuest, the world's first and best personal development platform created by and for the queer community. Imagine a space where your authenticity isn't just accepted, it's celebrated. A place where you can grow, learn, and thrive alongside a vibrant community that understands you. At QueerQuest, we're more than just a platform. We're a family. Connect with like-minded individuals, share your stories, and empower each other to reach new heights. Our tailored courses are designed to address the unique experiences of the queer community, from self-love and confidence building to career advancement and beyond. We've got you covered. It's time to step into your power and transform your journey. Join us today at courses.queerquest.vip, see what we're all about, and sign up to begin your quest.
And again, not everyone's going to have that experience. I know majority of us will have had that from some people in our life. Hopefully not our family, but of course, there are many of us that would have had that experience. So understanding that growing up in a world that internalized our identity, the impact is our mental health. It causes anxiety. It causes emotional distress. It causes depression, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, many, many different things, loneliness, isolation. And so when we've used suppression and it's become a survival tool, staying quiet, making ourselves small, masking our emotions are all things that we have had to do. We put our hands up and we've said, these are the ways that I know how to survive. Because in life, we aren't necessarily taught the best life skills. We aren't taught the best way to survive. And so what our brain does and our body does is it does what it thinks is best to survive. And sometimes that is, like I said, staying quiet, pretending not to be there, masking your emotions, especially when you're in that process of, not accepting yourself and really not coming to terms with it and wanting to hide it because you're in fear mode. That is what we do. We suppress ourselves. And then we think that that's the best way forward until we have to really come to terms that that is actually not working for us. That's actually harming us. It's causing us more trauma. And in order for us to be able to heal and want that journey of healing, we need to really figure out, how can I stop the suppression? How can I start accepting that and really seeing where I need to work on, seeing the trauma for what it is, and actually learning the life skills that I need in order to heal properly and move forward and navigate a world that necessarily wasn't created with myself in mind and yourself in mind. And of course, we all know the experience of the loneliness and the isolation that we've all felt. Many of us still feel this as well. And so coming to terms with that and understanding that is something that we have to be aware of, because there's a difference between healing and coping. And what are we doing to numb the pain? Because the many, many, many ways that we do to avoid dealing with our actual mental health issues and dealing with the trauma is, like I said, alcohol and drugs and prescription medication, sex, hookup culture, and those unhealthy relationship cycles. So many people in our community can get caught up in toxic relationships where we are physically and mentally, emotionally abused. And not all of them have to happen at the same time, but it can lead to that as well. Now, it can also lead to overeating, undereating, and body image struggles, right? We all probably know someone in our community that really struggles with their body image, if it's not us, right? Because when you look at the numbers, well over 50% of people in the queer community struggle with their body image. Now, depending on what part of the LGBTQIA plus community you are from, it can even be higher, especially for people who are on the spectrum of gender and transgender and non-binary. People over there are, sitting at 75% when it comes to body dissatisfaction as well. So looking at it, things like social media, doom scrolling, and overconsumption of content is another way that people use to numb and avoid dealing with their emotions, especially when emotions get heightened. We jump and we try to avoid it, and we maybe step into fantasy land or watch TV or movies or online scrolling through other people's lives, fantasizing and wishing that we were them. These are things that we have done and our brain has used for us as a coping mechanism to deal with the trauma. And it's called coping, and it's not called healing. And of course, these coping mechanisms might feel like relief because in the moment it feels like they are, but they never actually fix the problem. And the reason they become a problem and they can lead to substance abuse and addictions is because we feel that we're getting some sort of relief. But it's just a mask. We're masking the real problem. We're masking the real pain. Excuse me. And because of that, what happens? We don't fix the problem. We continue down the same cycle, and it becomes this like deep, dark cycle where we might have a situation that becomes a trigger, and that trigger causes the emotional reaction. We then choose to numb it by, like I said, going out partying, taking some medication, going on Grindr, finding a hookup, trying to feel good about yourself, eating, like restricting your eating, trying to be in control of something. And again, it just keeps going down that rabbit hole of full cycle. So we need to ask ourselves some hard questions. And the key hard question is, are you healing or are you just avoiding? So how do we want to check in with ourselves? And what are some of the signs that you might be avoiding true healing? Again, this is something that I would say that if you are doing these actions, because again, I'm not the type of person that's going to say alcohol is bad or drugs are bad or sex is bad, because everything is fine and good if it's causing good feelings for you. And I mean long-term feelings for you, and you're happy and it really not something in my boat, and causing something that becomes sustainable happiness. But if you notice that when you do this act, you constantly feel bad about the fact that you are doing that act, but you can't seem to stop that act, especially maybe it's something like porn, and you're doing it and it changes your emotions in the moment. You feel good, but maybe later you're like, well, like, I just wish I could have that under control. Or maybe I go to have a drink, but I just drink way too much and it becomes a problem. We all know, again, what I guess I'm trying to get at. So the signs that you might be truly avoiding instead of healing is that you don't feel good doing these things, but you are doing them because you think it's going to make you feel good, but you might get a high or you might get that avoidance and that change of, bodily feeling. But then automatically you're going to realize that those feelings are still there. They're not gone. So those are, again, probably good signs that you are avoiding over healing. And you want to understand why avoidance feels safer than healing. Because in healing, sometimes it actually can, at the very beginning, feel quite a lot because you are, for the first time maybe in your life, are really starting to feel the emotions and let them be. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but when it comes down to emotions and emotional reactions, if we properly process an emotion through our body when it comes up, it really is gone completely out of our body after 2 minutes. That's right, 2 minutes. Now, some of you are going to be like, that's BS because I have been dealing with the same emotions for days, months, years, decades even, and they keep coming back and back and back and back. What is that? That is unresolved trauma. And we get the trigger, it pushes us back to those moments, and those moments can be as intense or if not more intense than the initial experience itself. So avoiding those emotions initially, and you're safer than healing. But when we actually can go into the emotion in a safe environment, maybe with, someone that is an expert, like a coach or a therapist. I know I help many of my clients be able to move through their emotions, especially with tools within, NLP, which is, something that I'm a master in as well. It's a really safe way to help guide people through some of the emotions that are stored within our nervous system that we want to release and then be able to, rationally make better decisions and go on that process of healing as well. But really, the truth is that the first steps to really, really breaking free from the cycle of numbing and avoidance is being aware that you're doing this and also having the desire to say, you know what, it's not been working for me for the last months, years, decades, etc. I need to do something different. I'm ready to do something different. And I maybe just need to figure out the life skills involved in order for me to do that. Or I need to find the right person who can support me on that journey of healing instead of numbing and avoiding. And the way we do that, the best way that I know how to do that is firstly building a new relationship with your mental health, learning to sit with the discomfort instead of running from it, developing emotional resilience and some self-soothing techniques, whether it's through therapy, coaching, meditation, breath work, you know, community, hanging out and just hearing other people's stories and journeys, and then maybe trying to take something from that. It's key to understand that you don't have to do this on your own. Maybe you felt like throughout your life that you have been to a point where you become hyper independent, meaning that you feel like throughout your life the only person you can rely on is yourself. I understand why you feel that way because I felt like that for so many years, maybe even decades. And I pushed people away, pushed my family away, I pushed other people away. I pretended that I was perfect and happy and all these things, but I was suffering so very deeply in silence as well. And the power of self reflection is so critical and crucial in moments like this. And it's an intentional of healing. So if you're someone who really has struggled with reflecting and awareness of yourself, get a journal, start writing down and see if you can write down how you feel, why you feel that way, and see it on paper and look at it differently and go, oh, wow, like I've been dealing with this, but I don't know how many years as well. And so if you're someone who really wants to work on building that new relationship with mental health, I have some actions that I really want to ask for you because one small action that you can take right now is to shift towards healing. And we're talking about journaling. And if you want some journal prompts and journal questions to go on that journey of self awareness and self reflection, here's something that you might want to ask yourself. One, what am I running from? Out of all the emotions, what am I running from? Also, what am I using to numb my emotions? What is my vice? What is the area that I'm going through? Is it the alcohol, drugs, prescription medication, sex, porn, food, social media, whatever it is? What is it that you're doing? And what would true healing look like for me? What would it look like for me to go on that journey of healing? Because when you can see that, you see what you're running from, what you're using to numb your emotions, and what it looks like, maybe you're going to realize it's not that difficult and it's not too far away, especially once you learn to navigate and move forward. So I really, truly encourage those of you out there who are listening and you're in that place where you're going, this is me, I understand, I'm resonating with this. Seek support, join a community of healing. Whether that's me, whether that's Queer Quest Pro, whether that's the information where you can build a community of other people in the queer community who are actually on the journey of healing and transformation and continue to do the work, come to check out Queer Quest. I'm going to link it below. If you want to just check it out, of course, you can see if it's right for you. If not, cool. I want you to find a place that is right for you. Excuse me. What are some of the final thoughts that I really want to leave with you this week? Healing is choice. Avoidance is easy, but it keeps you stuck. You've been brave enough to come out of the closet, right? Whether that was today, whether that was 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 60 years ago, whatever it is, I want you to know that you were brave to do that. So now be brave enough to heal as well. I want you to drop a rainbow in the comments if this is resonating with you. I really want to keep this conversation going. I want to hear your experiences. And of course, if you've gotten value from this episode, I'd love you to like, to comment, to subscribe, to write a review, whatever you can do to really support the podcast and the channel. It's going to help this episode and to go out to other people who really need to hear it. So if you think it's something important, please, please, please share, tag people, whatever it is that you can do. I will appreciate it. And the other people who are going to get to hear this episode will appreciate it for you. And if you're someone who really, really, really feels like, you've got something to share, or you want a question, you can always reach out to me by either leaving a comment below or reaching out to me privately. You can reach out to me on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm available on all of those areas. So if you've got something to share, you just want to ask me a question, then come and reach out and let's get you going in the right direction. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back next week with another episode of the Queer Quest podcast. But until then, always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now.